It has had its challenges. The yes moment is when you get that thing and you're in the air with it and it's doing everything that it should. It's 5 cameras, it's 29 megapixel each camera. It's focusing on 5 different power line sets and driving each camera to that line, following it within 2 meters plus or minus of the line. And we're doing 70 kilometres an hour in a helicopter at 23 metres away. So you're sucking in about 1.5 gig per second of images, and that's the yes moment. That's when you know you got it licked. My name's Laurie Rogers. I'm a photographic technician. I've been working in camera clinic now for about 26 years. I never envisaged that I'd be here for this length of time, but I think it's in the blood. When it's in the blood, you have a passion. When you get a passion, you just follow that. The company's expanded tenfold in areas of research, development, manufacturing and repairs. So it's been a really good journey that I've had a lot of fun with. You're going to hear the little hissing sound every so often. That's the air gun in the workshop, and there's that and some vacuum and the odd size 9 hammer that you'll hear crunching on the bench as well. First camera that I distinctly remember is working on, apart from the bitses, that's the ones that you take apart to retrieve screws and washers and circlips and these little hard things that fly off the bench when you don't want them to. Yeah, the first camera that I remember learning on in a serious manner, and I had ownership of it. I licked it. This one was great. It was a Mamiya 645. And then I worked on to the RZs as well. So the Mamiya 645 was a classic. So it's a tank of a camera, it goes forever. The cameras, and I say cameras because there's more than one, that are my favourite are the ones that are engineered to be worked on. Typically, the cameras that we all hold in our hands are mass produced and they're made to a cost. And that cost doesn't encompass repairs. Probably the most intuitive and beautifully designed cameras have been the Leicas that I've worked on. They're certainly the top end of your Nikon and Canons and the D4s and the 1DX, things like that. They're beautiful cameras to work on. At one stage, we used to have competitions to see who could get into the shutter the quickest and replace it at sporting events. And this is when we're doing, say, like the Grand Prix, and we had like an on-site service. The most challenging camera that I've probably had to work on would be in the realms of hybrid cameras. These are cameras that were early adopters of new electronics. So things that came out in the 80s, cameras that were produced in the 70s, and even some of the early digital cameras. They adopted new technology and they didn't have the luxury of having years and years of this refinement of the electronics. Because of our background with the cameras and the understanding of the architect and imaging and what's required to get an image under a lot of different conditions, we've some years ago decided that we should exploit that knowledge and offer some services in imaging and design. Sometimes it might be as simple as as capturing some certain macro images under specific lights for looking for fluorescein response to chemicals. It might be aerial imaging where we're looking for biodiversity in the landscape and the health of crops. It's possible to use a digital camera to capture a spectrum of light that highlights the health or the crop of a plant, particularly if it's lacking in water. Basically, the greener it is, the more that it reflects near infrared light, and then we can convert the camera with a specific filter, that is taking the existing one out, putting another one in, that allows the use of an aerial camera or any digital camera in a UAV to image the health of the crop and determine where fertiliser and water needs to be applied. You hook that up with a GPS and you've got a very powerful tool for farmers to determine where the watering and the right fertilisation is needed in their crop, especially if you can't see it from the land base. The single biggest challenge on any device like that is vibration. Whether it be road, aerial, boat, whatever it might be, is always vibration. So you need to determine the frequency of that vibration. And fortunately, we got probably one of the best devices for doing that in our pockets, and that's just the smartphone. You can use those to determine the vibration and in which direction and the frequency, just with a simple app. So strap that to the floor of a helicopter and you'll know what vibration, the frequency you're dealing with, then apply the right type of dampeners, or even in the case that we did for a large power company, we made an active system where the sensors determine the vibration because it changed according to the pitch of the blades of the helicopter as it was taking off and doing other things and hovering. So then we would have an active dampening system that would counteract the vibration, and that way we could put this camera rig into any helicopter. So it might be whether you're doing a Squirrel or a Jet Ranger or something like that, you could, with a different frequency signature.